Okay, this is session 3 of my assessment. The purpose of today is to learn to plant tube stock. So the first thing we need to do is I need to get your verbal permission to be on the video because it is being assessed through the video. So Greg, do I have your permission to be on this video?
Yes, Kim.
And Tracy, do I
yes,
have your?
Kim.
Yeah, fabulous, thank you. So just a quick induction because this is off a classroom environment. Just so that you're aware of your surroundings, there is a planting bed in front of us and there is a bit of a trip in front, so just be cautious of that. And then on the other side of us, there is also a change in elevation, so just be cautious of those when you're moving around.
Sure.
Safety is not just my responsibility, it's also your responsibility. So if you're feeling unsafe, just come and talk to me and we will work through what needs to be done. But I've done a check to make sure that it is as good as it possibly can be.
Okay.
And I'm glad to see you've got your hats on and your sunscreen and your glasses and everything, you're ready to go. So that's good, thank you. It's a hot day. And the last bit of housekeeping we need to do is our on-site sort of emergency evacuation plan. So if there is an emergency here, what we will do is go through the gate around the corner to the right, and we'll head out to the driveway and stay safe near the letterbox. Okay, and we'll assess it then.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Alright, so today is about learning to plant tube stock. The structure will be pretty simple. We're going to just look at what tube stock is to begin with, and then we will look at what can go wrong if you plant tube stock incorrectly, and then I will demonstrate, and then you'll be able to practice planting tube stock. So, do you know what tube stock is?
No.
No. Okay.
Is it baby plants?
It is actually. This is tube stock, and they come in a variety of shapes and sizes. This is a 50 by 50 by 75 mil tube stock. And they were for a very long time typically used just in wholesale nurseries to actually establish the plant and make sure the root system is quite strong. And then they would be potted up into the next size, and that's what would be sold. But these days they've realised that natives like this prefer to be planted at this size, and they establish really well if they're planted smaller. So now they're sort of readily available.
Yep.
So that's what tube stock is. So no one's had any experience planting this before?
No.
No. Okay, cool. There's a bit of a trick to it. So just so we're clear, this is the container. There are roots and soil in here with plants on top. So good. So the next thing I'm going to do is just show you quite quickly what can happen if tube stock actually is planted incorrectly. So I'll just show a quick tube stock. So there's our plant there.
Yes.
And so I've seen before people plant tube stock like this. This is the ground level.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think happens if you plant like that?
So you're saying they're planting, they're
This
putting
is
it
the
into the
ground
ground
line.
in the pot?
No, they've removed
They've
it from
taken-
the pot.
okay, right,
yeah,
yeah.
and then they've planted the root ball.
Yeah.
So it sits proud of the ground. What do you think happens?
I think the roots.
The roots are not going to
Yeah, absolutely.
descend.
That's right, and they dry out because they're exposed to the surface when they're not supposed to be. So that planted like that will die.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And the other thing I have seen happen, well, here's your tube stock. And it's here's the ground line here.
Oh dear.
What do you think happens there?
Dies.
It
Yeah.
does die. Because
It's suffocated.
it does. It suffocates, and the water in the soil actually rots the plant itself. So that's why we can't do it that way. So it's really important that our ground line is at the top of the root ball. That's what we're aiming for today.
Which
Alright.
is in line with that. Yep.
Absolutely. So that is key.
Mhm.
Just turn this. Okay. All right. So the next stage is to make sure we have our gloves on. Thank you. Done that. And I'm just going to put up. This is just a list of sort of the instructions on how we plant tube stocks that we can just refer to if we need to. If anyone forgets as we go. So the first thing I'll do is demonstrate for you, and then we'll do it together, and then you can plant one yourself. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. So the trick to this is to just make sure with our pre-dug holes that they are the depth of the root ball itself. So if it's not, just give it a little bit more of a dig, and if it isn't, or if it's too sort of shallow or whatever, just kind of move it around a bit and make sure that it's pretty good. So that's pretty good. It sits quite well.
Yep.
The second thing we need to do is actually give the container a bit of a squish. So we squish it up, and that just removes the roots from the plastic. And now, just remove that for me. What we need to do is put our 2 fingers across the top of the tube stock, and then we just need to tip it and give it a bit of a tap, and it should just come out like that. Now you can tease the roots a little bit, just to mess them up and get them moving into the right positions. And then it's simply a matter of just planting and backfilling, just to make sure that root ball is at the same height as the ground level. And then we're just going to press firmly. There's a worm there.
Lovely. Waiting.
Sorry.
Ready and waiting.
Sorry, worm.
Yep.
And then the last thing we do is get our bucket of mulch, which is over here. And then we just make a donut actually around the tube stock. And the reason it's a donut is so that it's not up against the stem and rots the stem, but also so when it rains or we water it, the water actually goes and is directed into the root ball itself. So that is how we do it. So if you like to choose tube stock.
I would take.
Okay.
Oh, whoops. Oh,
I'll take that one then. Take that one. Yeah. You're right.
Yep.
We'll take the sides off.
the sides off.
Yeah. Good. So the first thing we're going to do is just
Do I
check.
have a shovel?
Yes, you
Do I need
can.
a shovel?
Greg, did you have a shovel?
Yeah.
It's behind you.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a couple of shovels.
Oh, good. Thank
Do
you.
you need one?
You might do.
I
So
might.
Okay.
come and check your choose a hole
Choose a hole.
and check to make sure it's correct. The depth. Okay. Better. Yep. Good.
All right.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Okay.
Okay, so then the next step, if you remember, was to squish it. Squish it up. Yeah. Good. Then the next step was to use your 2 fingers and make sure the stem's in between them, and then tip it and tap it. And then the root ball comes out. Yeah, you might need a bit more help sometimes. And you might have to tap it against something solid. This happens with some that you will find this is.
Oh, wait there.
Is it coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Well done. And then we tease the roots. Just tease them a little bit, particularly yours, Greg, because they are quite tight.
Yeah.
And then we simply plant to make sure that the tube stock is the same height as the ground level. Good. And then we get our bucket of mulch, which I'll put beside you, Trace. Thank you. Both use those ones. So we've all pressed it down firmly, have we? Yeah, we just want to make sure that the soil. Yep.
Okay.
And then we get the mulch and we make our donut.
So it's quite a lot of mulch, really. What I would thought.
Yeah, so you can go up to 100 mils of mulch in depth. Anything thicker than that stops the oxygen from getting into the ground. So that's it. Done. Well done. That looks good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you get to plant 1 or 2 more on your own. So again, choose your own adventure. Okay, cool. And if you're having trouble remembering, ask, or there is the list up here again if you need help with the steps. Did you check the depth, Greg?
No.
Good job.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. So a lot of people actually pull the plant from the tube
Oh.
and it just rips the,
Pretty sure
Yeah.
I've done that.
yeah, you rip the roots or the stem and it wrecks the plant.
Which explains why they can survive.
Yeah, that's right. That's it, backfill beautifully. Good.
Is that
Yeah.
okay?
No, you need to backfill so that it's up to this height here.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
see where the,
yeah.
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. That's it. and then you press it down. Good job. And then it's mulch donut time.
Where did I put the terms mulch and donuts?
I didn't know how else to describe it.
Much.
That's a good way to remember.
That's good. Yep,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. Thank you. So do you want to we'll do one more? Because I think we have time to. And we've got holes. Can you see another? There is
Just a hole there? Yeah.
one there. Yep.
I'll go for that one.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
There you are. Thank you. That's okay. That's it, Greg. Good.
Yeah, so it needs to be a bit.
Definitely, yeah. There's a spade here too if
Do you
you'd
wanna
like to use
show
Oh,
it.
that's all right.
You got it.
That's about it, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. Ah,
That's it. Turn and tap.
this feels like the
Yeah.
exam.
Exam.
Oh,
I'm watching you like a hawk.
Ah.
I can smell quite a bit of dog shit here.
Oh.
Well, that's, I shouldn't say that.
We're not standing here, we're sitting here.
And the mulch.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you. Just a big bit.
Yep, that's right. You can add a little bit more, Greg, in terms
Okay.
of thickness.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
That's good. All right. Well, I'll just we'll water it later once we've done this. You right?
Yep.
Before we-
Yep. Sorry.
That's okay. Just move this out of the way. Great. Thank you. That's excellent. Well, the last thing we would do is we would water the plants. So thank you. You've demonstrated beautifully that you can actually do the work skill I was teaching you today. So our learning outcome was to learn to plant tube stock in the correct manner, and you've all done a very good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
That's okay. So and it's a really good time to actually plant now because it is spring and the soil is warming up. So if you are going to do any tube stock planting, now's the time to do it. So if we were to have another session, like next week or something, what I would do is get you to learn to plant 25-litre trees because they are about 300 wide, 300 high, and they're very, you don't tip them and tap them and things like
No.
that. There's a very different method. So if we were going to go again, I would teach you to do that. So that's the end of the session. I do need to ask for some verbal feedback from both of you. If Tracy, if there's anything you
look,
liked
that
about
was-
what we did, or if I need to improve, please tell me.
No, I thought that was very informative. I didn't know all the process. I thought you just pulled them out. So it's good to know that you actually squeeze them and the way to do it so the dirt stays with them.
Yep.
Because, yeah, that's obviously why a few of my plants don't survive. Good to know how to make them survive.
Oh, good. That's excellent. And what about you, Greg?
It's the same thing. Yeah, it was very clear. Very clear.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Just
Excellent.
a bit of practice, so remembering all the steps. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your
Thank
time.
you.
Thanks, Kim.
That's the end of today's session.
Lovely.